Recording in progress.
Good morning, dear Dharma friends. That extraordinary music is from Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, who was the greatest Qawwali singer in the world. He was the 10th generation Qawwali singer from Pakistan. I saw him once live, quite something. And it's spiritual poetry he's singing. So, hang on, I'm getting a little bit of a complication. Well, I have a poem. I'm stuck in the Lao Tzu mode. From the Wahoo Ching. Number 52. They're colorfully named, aren't they? Do you think you can clear your mind by sitting constantly in silent meditation? This makes your mind narrow, not clear. Integral awareness is fluid and adaptable, present in all places and at all times. That is true meditation. Who can attain clarity and simplicity by avoiding the world? The Tao is clear and simple, and it doesn't avoid the world. Why not simply honor your parents, love your children, help your brothers and sisters, be faithful to your friends, care for your mate with devotion, complete your work cooperatively and joyfully, assume responsibility for problems, practice virtue without first demanding it of others, understand the highest truth, yet retain an ordinary manner. That would be true clarity, true simplicity, true mastery. Do you think you can clear your mind by sitting constantly in silent meditation? This makes your mind narrow, not clear. Integral awareness is fluid and adaptable, present in all places and at all times. Who can attain clarity and simplicity by avoiding the world? The Tao is clear and simple, and it doesn't avoid the world. Why not simply honor your parents? Love your children, help your brothers and sisters. Be faithful to your friends. Care for your mate with devotion. Complete your work cooperatively and joyfully. Assume responsibility for problems. Practice virtue without first demanding it of others. Understand the highest truths, yet retain an ordinary manner. That would be true clarity, true simplicity, and true mastery. Mindful everywhere. In this, the eternal moment, the now, There's a memory of yesterday and the day before and the many days before. There's a familiarity. How wonderful that we've come together like this again. And let's remember the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We can say it in words, and we can just manifest it. What is it that I'm doing here? I intend to be awake. Not just from sleep, but also to know that seeing is happening or hearing is happening. That there's an alive body and knowing of that. So let us plummet into the present. Let go of the past. Let go of the future. Let us receive the aliveness which is the breath. There is a term, two terms, for the development of concentration upon the breath, or any other object for that matter. One is initial application. So in a way it's targeting. I intend to, with great kindness, no violence, no coercion, I intend to direct awareness into the actuality of in-breathing and out-breathing. Not some fantasy of breathing, not breathing that's changed in some way, just breath the way it is. And then once that is established, I aspire to maintain this, sustain this, sustained application. Of course, there may well be wandering mind. The mind is a thought generator. It's part of our selective advantage as a species that we can create fantasies of the future and then adapt what we do to increase the probability of passing on our DNA and staying alive. We can be concerned about the flooding next winter or the fires and save our food in a way that our children will get to eat. Our seed stocks won't be pillaged by rats. So we don't need to control the mind. Simply notice when thinking is happening. Notice when emotions are happening. one of the foundational observations of the Buddha. Is that there is nothing that endures. Everything is in flux, without exception. Is this true? And we can get lost in intellectual conjecture, which is of no help. Or we can accept our incarnation more and more fully, and the fact that we live in a meat body. We live in a body which is mortal. And each breath has a beginning. And so we can become true scientists using mindfulness and concentration and the other enlightenment factors to carry out the experiment. Can I find something that is not changing here? Notice the awakening from the trance of desire and wanting, from that of disliking, aversion, the trance of restlessness, agitation, worry, remorse, that of sloth and torpor, sleepy dullness, the trance of doubt. The Tibetans call these obscurations. Quite mysteriously, awareness illuminates the five hindrances. It turns them into objects of awareness. And this is, of course, a radical difference from identifying with them. Gradually, we encounter more and more parts of what we could call our personality, and learn how impersonal it is. And so we sit and breathe. We tend to perceive the world through mood. We can get stuck in moods. We can wake up in a mood, depressed, anxious, expansive, contracted. Very accepting or irritable. And we tend to say, I am this, I am that. I am irritable, I am. And mood can become an object of awareness. And so we set ourselves free moment by moment. Let us revisit the imagination that there is a tiny Buddha sitting in the center of your chest, in your heart perhaps. He, she, they, this mysterious doorway into the universe, into the source of all love and compassion, is shaped precisely like you. There couldn't be a better fit. Every eyelash, every hair, every scar, and we imagine that through this tiny, exquisite doorway pours love. It's almost like the Big Bang. Out of nowhere comes everything. And this love we could imagine as golden or white light or blue light or red light or as an energy simply. And let it flow in to that which you take to be you, this body, and flow down into the abdomen and pelvis and legs and feet and toes. Flow up into the chest and shoulders and out into the arms and fingers, up into the head. And let there be a small smile, very small, imperceptible from the outside. And we could put words on it. You could imagine, may I be happy, or I love you with your name on the end. And let this love and compassion flow into anywhere in your body that you're hurting, where you're sick. Let it flow into the deepest recesses of the psyche. Anywhere that you feel confusion or fear or loneliness or desperation. In a way, it's allowing the Buddha to hold us in great compassion. It's okay to let the tension in the face relax. It's okay to let the shoulder hurt as much as it does. Let yourself in whatever struggles there are in your life. Let this golden Buddha, Kuan Yin, Mary, let yourself rest. And now allowing the imagination to let this golden being begin to expand from almost nothingness to bigger and bigger until the glowing, beautiful golden skin of this Buddha figure is exactly contiguous with yours. Every hair, every pore. And please acknowledge your Buddha-ness, your Kuan Yin-ness, your whatever the archetypal figure would be for you. And some people visualize very easily, and for others it doesn't work very well. That doesn't matter. Let yourself be the Buddha. and look around the world. If you look carefully at all, you'll discover suffering everywhere. And one of the characteristics of being awake is that we can, in fact, tolerate, we can, in fact, move toward suffering. Holding some suffering in the world that you know of, in the heart of the Buddha. May all the children in America living in poverty be somehow comforted. May they be cared for. May all BIPOC people emerging from centuries of oppression be comforted. And think of that relative you know who's really suffering. Maybe they're at the end of their life, or their disability is just getting worse and worse. Or maybe you know someone who's descending into dementia, or someone who cares for them. Allowing the great compassionate heart of the Buddha to envelop them. It doesn't mean you take on their suffering. It doesn't mean you therefore minimize your own. It's that we recognize that this is our suffering. It is shared by all. And let's narrow the field a little bit to this, a lot actually, to hold in compassion everyone here in this gathering. May you be happy. May you be free from fear and danger. May you live with ease and grace. May you be liberated. And so our loving energies flow about and intermingle. Maybe we lose track of who's who. It's just us. As we allow awareness to come into the feet and legs, into the buttocks and thighs, into the abdomen and the chest, to receive the life of the hands, the fingers. And we can leave the infinitely loving and compassionate Buddha expanded to our skin, or we can let that archetypal being shrink back down into this perfect rendition, available at a moment's notice. Our superpower, in a way. Becoming aware of the eyes, and noticing the intention to open the eyes. And let's bring our golden Buddha-ness to our eyes, so that when we begin to see, it's with the eyes of blessing. Thank you, dear Sangha friends. I think I'd just like to remind that Jim is doing a half-day retreat on Saturday, 9 to 2. A wonderful way to spend the morning, 9 to 1. Thank you, Jim. Time. And then I'd like to see, is there anything you'd like to share? How are the joys and sorrows of life arising for you? How is the practice helping you surf on them rather than drown? Actually, I do have one short update on the building. We failed our plumbing permit test. It turns out that the faucets are too old and they need a flow restrictor. So we're not using unnecessary amounts of water. And the water heater, it's a little 3-gallon water heater, needs some kind of a pressure relief tank. So, not a big thing, but we need the plumber to come out again. The interior of the door to the ramp is sheetrocked since yesterday, and mudding and taping today. The door is in, the actual swinging door, but all the glass, the rest of the glass, of which there's a lot, won't be here till the middle of next week. There's a shortage of glass. And it's kind of special glass for something like this. The final door down in the offices was put in yesterday. And the painting is really going on. They're painting up a storm. The foyer, the narthex as it's called, is going to be a different color of yellow than it was before, and it's much nicer. It's not so aggressive. It's a mild, beautiful yellow. Oh, the grab bars are in the bathrooms. So, enough of that.
Good morning.
Hello, Eric.
Hi. In your language, which I love so much, I wanted to bring forward to the altar of our hearts someone who died yesterday, Bell Hooks. She's was an amazing activist in the race movement, the feminist movement, but how she really affected me was her teachings about love. She wrote a beautiful book about love, but I have a quote I was thinking of reading that just kind of made me think of the community and everything, just to kind of honor all that she did, basically. So here goes. The moment we choose to love, we began to move against domination, against oppression. The moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways that liberate ourselves and others. And so that's just a short little reading, but she has very beautiful readings. Mostly I just wanted to honor her life. Very impacting.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bell hooks.
Eric, that broke up. Could I request you read that again? I did not hear that.
Sure. She says, the moment we choose to love, we begin to move against domination, against oppression. The moment we choose to love, we begin to move towards freedom, to act in ways which liberate ourselves and others.
I have an idea. Something that I learned at the Black Lives Matter demonstrations last year. I'd like you to, if you want to, unmute, and I will say her name. And we would respond, you would respond, bell hooks. Say her name.
Bell hooks.
Bell hooks.
Say her name.
Bell
hooks.
Say her name.
Bell
hooks.
And one more time. Say her name.
Bell
hooks.
That's powerful. Oh, Leanne has posted the quote in the chat. Thanks, Leanne. The moment we chose to love. Wow. I'm remembering a song from Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. Raise your hand if you've seen that. It's a touching, schmaltzy sort of beautiful movie. At one point, what's his name? It's the patron saint of animals.
St. Francis.
It's St. Francis, thank you. But maybe I forget who sings, but one of the lines is, love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? You say it's very hard to put aside the life we knew. There's a scene in the movie where he's come back from the war. He's had this awakening that came from war from seeing the horrors of it. And his father's a very rich man. And Francis is in an upstairs attic storeroom throwing throwing bolts of cloth out and just spreading the riches because they have so much. He wasn't particularly well received doing that, but it's a worthy movie to watch. Brother, Sun, and Sister Moon.
Hi, Robert. It's Joy.
Hello, Joy.
There was so much content in your meditation. It was amazing. I feel like I need to think about it for the rest of my life. But
Don't. Ah!
I think for the first time, I really felt what you meant by a trance state. And I was thinking over some of my own preoccupations and obsessions. I used to think nobody loves me, and I operated on that. And then now I think too many people love me, and I can't meet their needs. So, but I think our identity is based on all these trances. So,
Yes.
Who are you?
Yes.
But without them, there's a feeling of disintegration. And what do you do when yourself no longer? I mean, when you're defabricated, isn't that a bit scary?
Oh yeah. That's why we get close to that and we pull back like But being the source of all love and compassion and spaciousness, and you can kind of get used to it. And if people love you and it's really love, you don't owe anybody anything. I mean, you and I have a very similar codependent structure. So I recognize it when you speak of it. And we don't, love is free. Real love.
I guess lots of people are saying, they need me, they need to see me every week, or else they'll become extremely lonely or unhappy or visualized. And
those are tough situations. Yeah.
Well, I resist it because it feels so a little oppressive.
A little, yeah.
but at the same time, like, I think I rely on it for a sense of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and one becomes such a good person. You know,
Yeah, so good.
right. And it's this is a bit harsh, but being in relationship with vampires is very difficult, and one can only handle so many, and that's probably one or two. And
But
So-
at the same time, it sort of validates my own existence.
so then, what to do? I think I mean what I've been practicing for a long time and still do really is to have some boundaries and to say no, and then to see the angst, whatever that brings up in you, and then that becomes your meditation object, and then you discover that too is not permanent. It's just it's a reaction to something, to a change. But then behind that, what is there? And I would propose that behind that is more love and spaciousness than you've ever known.
I guess it feels a bit like disintegration when you give up the trances.
It is disintegration, I think.
Then I can see the non-being that you're talking about. That's kind of an obscure concept.
As a concept, it's really obscure. As an experience, it's very simple. To just... Ruth Denison used to say goodbye in a beautiful way. She would say, "Darling, enjoy the beauty of your being." She didn't say enjoy the efficiency of the work you do, or be sure to take care of your family and friends, and never give yourself any rest. Though she did not give herself adequate rest, in my humble opinion. So it's worth experimenting. Years ago, I met the first woman to become a priest in the Episcopal Church in the United States. She was on the cover of Time and Newsweek. It was a big deal. And she came to visit my first wife. She was in town giving a talk, and she came to our house for tea. And she shared with us that she'd had a flourishing psychotherapy practice in Washington, D.C. And she decided she was going to take a year off. This was before her big thing politically. And she said she took a year to prepare everybody. So she told them, July of next year, I'm going to close my practice for a year. And she went to a little house in Vermont somewhere and spent a year in solitude and reading. And she said the hardest thing she ever did was to say no to so many people. She had her own destiny that was calling her, but so many people were depending on her. But she did do it, and she was an amazing human being. So how to give ourselves, and I continue to work on this, how to prioritize this being enough.
And it's also vanishing. Enjoy the beauty of your being, but it's also disappearing.
Yes, I can see.
By moment.
I can hear that really affects you deeply.
Well, as this is the week of death. So.
That's true. So there's the sadness.
But.
Yeah. So what to do? What to do but feel it deeply. And then to come home to your breath, to feel it deeply, to feel it fully, to to build a little altar and light candles and
For the dead and also for our own disappearance.
yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Hmm. That isn't today, hopefully, but it could be.
Yeah. I really appreciate the clarity and simplicity that you're experiencing this with and articulating it.
Oh, thank you. And I really appreciated your meditation. There was so much richness today and every day, but today for some reason it just was amazing. Maybe it takes like 20 years to be able to hear it.
Well, I'm coming up on 51, so I think we hear it more and more deeply all the way, all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's 8:09. I should go quite soon. Anything else that anyone is sitting with, please?
Robert and Sangha, hi.
It's Karen. Hi.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sitting with so much. I mean, I really am. And this meditation was really good. I haven't been here much lately. I'm back in Oregon after my little retreat time and just trying to keep my shit together, basically. You know, I'm feeling just a lot of emotion. So it was wonderful to just sit here with the Sangha. And when Eric mentioned his friend that passed, I remember that today is the anniversary of my sister's death. She was schizophrenic. She died 7 years ago today. And whoa, I just had this, all this emotion come up, especially when you guys were saying the name. And I just thought it would be really nice to honor my sister. She had a really tormented life. You can imagine schizophrenia. And when, towards the end of her life, my mom really didn't want anything to do with her. So the siblings, and there were 7 of us, now there's just 5, but we took turns taking care of Connie, and Connie is her name. And sometimes it was a burden, because it was like, oh, I got to get Connie. You never knew what frame of mind she was going to be in. She loved to go to P.F. Chang's, and so I would take her there, and she would just, towards the end, I felt like I needed to apologize to the employees when I left P.F. Chang's because there was like rice all over the place. And it was just, sometimes it was really challenging with Connie. And when she passed, there was a part of me before she passed, I thought she was so tormented and she had such a rough life. I just thought it'll be a blessing. It'll be better for her, to get out of this life. I always wondered why did she get schizophrenia and why didn't, I'm so glad I didn't get it, but it's just one of those things where you just wonder why there's even an affliction like that. But anyhow, after she died, there was such a void, because what Connie did for our family, our kind of relatively dysfunctional family of origin, we're okay, but she brought up empathy, and compassion. And even though our siblings might have had all these different issues, we had this common ground of, we got to take care of Connie. And I really missed having that opportunity to just take, once a week, for half a day, to just, I had to put myself in this position of, okay, I had to get in a mindset and And we all did. But what a void she left. And I never realized it. It was, I can't really articulate what she gave me and what it feels like to not have her in my life. But I miss her more than anybody that's passed. And she was the one that I thought would be the easiest because of her tormented life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what is her whole name?
Connie Dahl.
Dahl?
Dahl, like a Barbie doll, but Connie.
Dahl.
Yeah.
Would it be okay to speak her name?
Please. She was 61.
So please unmute if you wish. Say her name.
Connie Dahl.
Oh,
Say her name.
Connie Dahl.
Say her name.
Connie
Dahl.
Say her name.
Connie
Dahl.
And once more, say her name.
Connie
Dahl.
She mattered.
She mattered. Connie Dahl mattered. Connie Dahl matters.
Yes.
Yes.
She still does. Thank you, Sangha.
Of course, Karen Willard matters too.
Thank you. We all do.
Thank you for that beautiful sharing, Karen. Boy, this certainly brings my feet to the ground. Well, I have an itinerary I need to go attend to. Let's go out on a song. Please join me. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, dear friends, for being together this morning. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
David.
Love
Hi,
you,
Had.
Karen.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye, Had.
Bye, Had.
Jen.
Yeah, right.
Everyone.
See you,
Bye,
Jim.
David.
Bye. Bye, Tamara.